Hello and welcome. This is part 4 of the tutorial how to make a level editor inside Godot. This is going to be by far the largest tutorial and the most complicated, so bear with me on this one. I might make mistakes, I'll try not to. So I'm going to show you what we're going to achieve at the end of the tutorial. So you can see I've got a new tab called tiles. You can place them now like this, and this is actually using the tile map editor. This isn't objects, this is actually the tile map, and I'll show you that in a moment. As you can imagine, you can make some cool little things like this. Whoops. A spike here. We can have a dog here. You see, I've just accidentally put a spike over there. But yeah, we could go back and then we can remove stuff like this. So I'm showing you how to place and remove tiles on a tile set. Now, you need to know how to set a tile set up. I'm assuming quite a few might not know that, so I'm going to start with doing that first. So let's get into it. Placeholder stuff. So this is the project that you'll have, and what we're going to do is we're going to go straight in and we're going to add the files. So this is going to be up on GitHub, so you'll be able to download this. You won't have to do it yourself, but I do recommend following through. So what we're going to do here is we're going to make a new folder. I'm going to call this tiles. Why not? I'm going to select tiles. I'm going to just drag this over. I'm also going to drag in this as well, which is the actual tile sheet. So this tile sheet is free on itch.io, I believe. I will put a link in the description so you can see where I got it from. I'm allowed to use it, I mean. So one thing as well, I need to select every single image, go to import, go to presets, go to this, and import, and that'll make sure that it's in pixel art. So let's set up the tile set. So you want to make a new scene, other node, and we just call this node, that's fine. We'll just call this mod tiles. I'm gonna drag in this here. What we're gonna do is call this 0. I'm gonna go to the offset. We're gonna turn the offset off. It's important that you do that. Go to the region. We want region on. You'll see it'll disappear. That's because we're getting a region inside. I'll show you what that means. So if I say 16 by 16, so if you click texture region at the bottom as well, you'll see that you've got this here. So what we're going to do just for this tile set is we're just going to get these tiles and that's it. We're not going to bother the rest. You can if you want, but I'm not, just for timekeeping sake. So I'm going to go to grid snap. This is 16 by 16, so we're going to make sure that is 16 by 16. And then as you can see, I could just grab it like this, and there you go. So what I want to do is I want to just move this up here, and what we're going to do is we're going to attach a static body. And the reason we're doing a static body is that we want this tile to be collidable. You know, if we want to be able to give it like a physics object, so when the player connects with it, it knows that it's on the tile. And then this requires a physics static body, add a collision shape. I'm just going to do that, make sure that it's on the right place. In fact, let's move this back to 0, 0, and then move this to 0, 0. And I want to have my snap on. Use pixel snap. Click this. Grid snap. There we go. So now, yeah, that was the one. I had to snap it into this grid. There we go. And up. Brilliant. Yeah, so make sure that you don't do what I do. Make sure you've got this grid snap on, else you'll be like fine-tuning it too often. Once that's done, we're going to add something else as well, which we won't have to worry about for this tutorial, but it'll be important for the next tutorial, and it's basically a light occluder. So basically, we can make sure that light doesn't shine through a tile, and it'll also cast shadow as well. So we're going to go to add child, we're going to go to light occluder, And this is a bit different. We're going to go to the occluder here, and then it wants us to draw the polygon. Oops, I thought that would connect it. There we go, and it's connected. And that'll go away. Now what we want to do here is make sure that this is connected. You want to press Ctrl D. We want to move that here. Press Ctrl D again, move it here. Ctrl D again, move it here. Just so it's easier to understand. Just keep doing this as I'm doing it. Ctrl D, Ctrl D. And as you can see, it's actually named it for us as well, which is really smart of Godot to know that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up to each one, and we're just going to put the right. Just make sure that the texture is selected down here. And as you can see, we're kind of like building the texture sheet as we're going across. Whoops. Don't worry about that. In fact, that was... which one's that one? Whoopsie. That was this one. So that one has to be this one, and that one is middle, that one's this one. Yeah. Sorry about that. Brilliant. So we've got the tiles we want to use for this tutorial. So what we're going to do is we're just going to press save on this. I'm going to say more tiles here, and then we're going to go to the scene. And what we're going to do is we're going to convert this into our tile set, so this can be used in the tile map later. So tile set, and we're just going to call this tile map tiles Tress. Trying to come something more inventive than this. Make sure you put Tress at the end for the extension, and press save. Brilliant. So what we're going to do now is we can close this down. We're done with that. Now in our scene, it's really important that it's inside the level. So click the level, right click it, add to child, and we want to go to tile map. And then what we want to do for the tile map is we want to locate our, where is it, tile map tiles. Ooh. Put it in here, and as you can see, there they are. So right from, before I say that, let's click the tiles, let's go to your inspector, go to your cell, and it default 64, but you want it to be 16 for this tile set. Now if you've got a 32 by 32, use 32 by 32. And already you can see we can start building levels already. But I'm not going to build levels, it's just for demonstration. So now we've got this sorted out, we're going to be using the mouse right button to remove tiles and also objects in another tutorial. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our project, we're going to go to project settings, input, and we're going to say MB right. Go down to MB right, go to the mouse button, right click it, add it, close it, save. Cool. Now once this is done, we now want to basically have a tiles tab here, don't we? So we're going to go to the tile item selection here. We're going to click this open editor, and it'll open the actual object we want as its own scene. And now I know that creatures for us, it only has like one object in there. So what we can do is we can press Ctrl D, and then I can call this tiles. I can move tiles up, and then what I'm going to do here is move this over, sorry, is we're just going to call this item tile 0. So now what we can do is we've got the tiles, and now I need to edit this script so it allows you to use tiles, because at the moment it's just placing objects and we want it to be placed in tiles. So I'm going to go into this object here by pressing this script, and then once I'm in here I'm going to get my little test up just to make sure that I'm doing everything right. Brilliant. Okay, let's move on to this. So we want to go to the texture object, item texture, and I want to put in 2 new variables. I want to say export bool var tile equals false. And what this means is that by default this item texture control won't be a tile, but in the editor we can click true to make it a tile, and then we'll say down here, hey, is it a tile? Then it has to be, the functionality will change. So we'll say export var tile ID equals 0. Now let me show you what the IDs mean, because that just doesn't mean anything right now. So if we go back to the tile map, and you can see right here 0, 1, 2, 3. This is the ID of the tiles we want to use. So I need to know which tile I click and get its ID. So that's the whole point for this script. I'm not explaining this very well because it's so much information, so bear with me. If you do have any more questions, I will elaborate, just let me know. So we're going to go down, we're going to go to our item click, and we're going to say, right here, we're going to go, if we're not tile, move this over by doing that. And then we're going to say, right, yep, do the normal thing, but actually we're going to go back to else. We are a tile. Cool. So we've got that set up now. We now know that if we click, actually let's just remove that just for this test. So we know that, hey, this has to be a tile for us to be able to, sorry, not a tile for us to be able to use an object. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the globals, because we're going to add new things in here. And we're going to go var current tile equals 0. Now remember, this global is a singleton, so it means it's loaded at all times. So the reason I'm putting it here, it's just easier to pass variables between controls rather than saying, right, get this control, get the variable on that control. I can just put it in this singleton and it'll always be present. It's really a much simpler, cleaner way of doing it, I believe. Var place tile equals false, so by default we're going into place object mode. We're going to save that. We're going to go to the item texture, and then now we're going to say underneath here global, which is the singleton I just referred to, place tile equals false. So it means that, hey, we've just clicked an object, we don't want it to be a place tile, so it's not a tile. Else, oh, have I messed that one up? Yeah, okay, that's right. Else, if event.is action pressed, is it not there? Oops, sorry, I'm making all kinds of mistakes at the moment. I want this one to be MB left again. Then we want to say global dot place tile is actually true because we've just clicked a tile. This is saying, hey, if this is not a tile, then else it has to be true, so we've just clicked a tile. Then we want to say global dot current tile equals tile ID, which is up here. And what we'll do is when this will be set, so every single time I put a new tile in, I'll say, right, this is ID 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So that'll contain that variable, and I'm going to pass this into the global to say, hey, this is the tile we're using. And then I'm going to say cursor sprite dot texture equals null. So the reason I'm doing that is, I'll show you now, is if I click something. Now if I click an object, you can see I've changed the cursor to this object. Now if I was to click a tile, the cursor wouldn't go away, but now it will because I've just set it to null when I click a tile. So let's go back to the script. Let's go down to here. So we're finished with this script. What we want to do now is we want to go to the editor object. Make sure everything's right, and we're going to put in the actual tile set we're working on. So we're going to go on ready var tile map, and then we'll say tile map equals level, because we know we've put it in the level node and we've got the level node just here. Dot get node, and we know it's called tile map. Yeah, tile map. Save. And then we're going to go to process. And I'm going to go here, I'm going to say if we're global place tile, so if we're not placing a tile, then yes, we want to do this. Leave that up. Else we are placing a tile, then we want to say, hey, if can place. So we were using that because if you click a tile, as soon as you click it, it'll place it, and what we want to do is click it, and then when we move out of the editor section, then the tile should be able to be placed. And then we're going to say if input dot is action press can be left, and we're going to say place tile. So we need to make this function. So I'm going to make this function. Oh wow, this is a bit messy. Oops, and I always do that. So we're going to create the place tile function. So we're going to put it here. I'm going to say place tile, and we're going to say var mouse pos equals tile. So mouse pos is mouse position. I'm just being lazy. World to map get global. Make sure that's right before I say it. Yep, that's what I thought. Mouse position. Get global mouse position. Then we want to go tile map dot set cell. So this is saying, hey, get the mouse position in relation to the tile we're working on. This is what that means. And then once we know the position of the mouse on the tile set, we're going to set the tile on the tile set at that position. So we'll say mouse pos x, mouse pos y, and I believe it's global. Let me just make sure it's right. Global tile. Oh, 1 second. Oops, that's why it's global current tile. That is present, right? Yeah. Okay, brilliant. Okay. So that's fine. Import is not declared. So it's capital import, that's why. Great. Now, I'm going to have a deletion. So what I'm going to do is put the delete here as well. So I'm going to just copy this. And this is now right. Remember, we put the right one in early when we first started the tutorial. And this will just be remove tile. And what I'm going to do is, because it's very similar to the place tile, so I'm just going to copy this. And I'm going to put it here, and I'm just going to say remove tile. And here, so what happens when you set a tile to -1 is it's invisible, it's an empty space. So it's sort of like, don't know if you play Minecraft, but if an air block is like an empty space. So it's like Minecraft in a weird way. Okay, so we're going to save that. So that's in. Now at the moment we haven't got any tiles, you're like, well, this isn't going to do anything because we need to set the tile up now. So we're going to go to the item here, and then tile item here, and then what we're going to do is we're going to remove this because we're not calling an object. We're going to click on because this is now a tile, and we want this to be ID 0. Now the whole point of having these tiles earlier, I had to make these using a spray. I had to cut out this sheet. I'm sure there's a better way, but I don't know it right now. If you do know it, let me know. So I'm going to drag in tile 0, and there you can see it's in. So we're going to see if this is working. First time, hopefully. We click it. Oh, perfect. I was kind of worried it wasn't going to work first time. Great. And then we can remove them. Brilliant. So now it's basically a copy-paste job from here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to say Control-D, Control-D. Now what I want to do is highlight the box above it, press Control-D, Control-D. And then I want to go 1, oops, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's great. So right now it will work. I mean, if we just play it right now, you'll see the middle tile will be just this blank one. But obviously we need to communicate that with the actual player that would be using this. So we're going to select tile 1 and we're just going to go like this. It's a bit of a lengthy process, but it's done now. There we go. And as you can see, we now have the capability to place tiles. So let's just make a little scene before I go, and I'll explain what I'll be doing in the next tutorial. So the next tutorial, I'll be basically making it so you can have a load and save. So right now it's great, we can make levels, this is brilliant, and we could, whoops. It'd be nice to have an undo feature, but that's well outside scope. Let's put a little thing here. Let's put a spike here and here. Oops, I keep putting spikes down by mistake. I'll have to sort that out. It's a bug in with my code. And then in the next tutorial we'll have something like this, and we'll say, hey, well, let's press Control S, and a dialog box will come up, and you'll save the file, and then we can load it. So that'll be in tutorial 5. That one did go a little bit quicker than I thought it was going to go. It's a lot of information. I'm a bit worried I might have missed something, but I don't think I have. If you have any questions, as always, let me know. I'll put the tutorials on GitHub, Discord, and the tile map on itch. Thanks for stopping by. Bye bye.